Perhaps the most notable politician who's made a case against the super-secret Federal Reserve is Texas Republican Congressman Ron Paul. But look left of the political spectrum, and you'll find Ohio Democratic Congressman Dennis Kucinich making nearly the same arguments. Question: can Republicans and Democrats unite on this front in their pursuit of sound money? Here with answers is Congressman Kucinich. Congressman, it's a pleasure. Welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Judge, thank you for the opportunity to be on, and thank you for pointing out that Ron Paul and I have actually worked together on this issue, challenging the lack of transparency at the Federal Reserve and raising some fundamental questions about our monetary system.
I think that you have recognized as well as anyone that the founders never intended that the American economy should be run by a super-secret central bank and by other banks chosen by this super-secret central bank. How can we stop this?
Well, Judge, you're well known for raising the constitutional issues. And in this case, the power to create or coin money is a power that the founders put in the hands of the Congress.
Right.
And what's happened in the 1913, as you know, and as many people know, the Federal Reserve Act transited that power to an elite that has since then been running the banking system for their own interest and for the interest of a few banks, as opposed to the broad-based interests of the American people.
Okay, I understand, and I think most people watching us now understand the libertarian argument against the Fed. You are a liberal Democrat and a progressive. Make for us the progressive argument against the Fed, not for auditing it, but for abolishing it.
Well, what I call for specifically is to transfer the Fed so the power of the people is returned to the government in putting the Fed under Treasury. I have a bill to do that. It's called the NEED Act. And then the government would, just like the Fed creates money out of nothing with its quantitative easing and gives that money to banks and to foreign banks, so the government has the ability to be able to invest in our country, to create millions of jobs, to spend the money into circulation so we don't have to borrow from China, Japan, South Korea, and we don't have to borrow from banks. We can regain the power that the founders intended us to have. And so that's it in a nutshell. And I also want to point out that I heard your comments about the what I call fractional reserve banking. I mean, banks have the money to create, have the ability to create money out of nothing.
Right.
And inevitably, the people get stuck with the debt when their financing schemes collapse. That's not right.
If we had a gold-backed dollar, or if we didn't have the Fed, banks could only lend money that they had. They couldn't lend money that they didn't have, and that would get rid of this monster that has created a lot of the problems that we have. And I commend you for your aggressive pursuit of getting rid of this. But
when you consider that money is debt today,
right,
then we keep expanding debt. We have to look at our ability to create wealth. Now, you and I should have a longer discussion about a gold standard because I have some concerns.
I know you do.
But I want to say that you, almost in a singular position in the media, have raised this question, a fundamental question, about the viability of a monetary policy which undermines our country, which puts the wealth in the hands of a few at the expense of the rest of America. And I thank you for doing that, Judge Napolitano.
Well, thank you, Congressman. And it's great to discuss these things. Sometimes it's a little frustrating, as you know, when we don't see any movement. But you're a liberal Democrat in a Congress, half of which is controlled by the Democrats, half of which is controlled by the Republicans. And you have never feared bucking the orthodoxy of your own party. I mean, does Barack Obama want to audit the Fed? Does Nancy Pelosi want to end the Fed? You even said that the president was wrong to bomb Libya, and a lot of Democrats agreed with you, and most didn't. What's it like being down there and an iconoclast in your own party, Congressman Kucinich?
I went to Congress to represent the people in the Cleveland area and to also be a spokesperson for the American people. I do it without regard to what the dictates of a party might be. I think that we have to come to a point in America where we do what's right for the country without regard to the effect it has on political party. And I think that is what the American people want.
What are your views on the protesters known generically as Occupy Wall Street, even though they're not in Wall Street and they're all over the country. Shouldn't their real beef be with big government giving away money rather than with the banks who have accepted and received the money?
Well, frankly, there's much reform that needs to be done, both inside and outside of government. The Occupy Wall Street movement is an authentic expression of the grassroots concern, which is felt all over this country about the wealth of America accelerating into the hands of a few. And thank God we still have Americans who are willing to put themselves on the line, who will take that Constitution, which guarantees us free speech and a right to assemble, and say that I'm standing here and I'm demanding my rights as an American citizen, and this is what I believe. Thank God there are Americans like that.
You are unique among Democrats, defending the Constitution from the left. Congressman Kucinich, you know you're always welcome here. It's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Judge.
The revolution